When you match up Noita, Hades, and the Binding of Isaac, you get Magicraft. Picture this, a gamer can combine multiple spells together to create literally any combination you can think of, making something so overpowered you melt entire screens worth of monsters. That's what Magicraft is all about, a game that's ready to turn the roguelite genre upside down. What sets Magicraft apart? Well, Magicraft's main mechanic is finding spells and finding creative ways to make spell combinations that can either make or break a run, which is very similar to Noita, just with less complexity to the spell building. These spells can be enhanced with wands, whom have their own modifiers, and relics, which serve as passes that'll help intertwine your build into one cohesive piece. The best thing about this is that there isn't any limit on what you can combine as long as you have enough slots in your wand and you have the mana for it. Anything goes. Magicraft openly grabs inspiration from large titles within the genre. For example, in Hades, every time you clear a room, you get to pick between several doors which grant different rewards. Magicraft does this too without needing to change the formula. This gives a lot of freedom of choice and control for each run. Magicraft also grabs a lot of inspiration from the Binding of Isaac in terms of its difficulty and itemization. In the Binding of Isaac, there's items that grant bonuses which can drastically change how your character plays. Magicraft does this as well, but on a smaller scale, where these items called relics grant you passive buffs such as increased mana regen, higher mana points, faster movement, etc. It doesn't change the gameplay as drastically as items in the Binding of Isaac. The things that do drastically change the gameplay are the spells and the spell buffs that you can apply to your wand. Magicraft also has potions that can grant you temporary bonuses such as invisibility, immunity to poison, and so on. If you're liking the video so far, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this every week. The developers Bilibili have done such an amazing job putting all of the aspects into one cohesive game. Even though it's not perfect, they've set the foundation for something that can be truly magnificent. One day we may see Magicraft become one of the best roguelites of all time, but that really depends on what they do going forward. You may be wondering, why isn't it currently considered, to me, one of the best in the genre right now? Well, Magicraft just released November 2nd of 2023, and during the time of this video recording, that's just a couple weeks ago, and it's in early access. So this means that this game is still in development and going through changes. It's important to note that even though there's a lot of great things about Magicraft, there's some flaws that do need to be worked out. Please note that the devs are extremely active within the community, constantly communicating and releasing patches almost every day, if not every week. I'll go back to this in just a moment, as I'd like to discuss some of the main issues I've experienced in this game. Considering Magicraft being in early access, there's some issues I've stumbled upon in my 26 hours of game time in Magicraft. For one, the balancing can feel a bit janky, especially when you go from Chapter 2 to Chapter 3. Chapters are essentially levels with increasingly difficult enemies, but specifically going from Chapter 2 to Chapter 3 can make or break a run a bit too much and too frequently. This can be really frustrating if you're not focusing all your energy into becoming overpowered, which kind of takes away from the casual sense you may obtain from this game. For example, I had a really overpowered minion build that dealt no direct damage, but relied solely on minions for all of the damage output. Once I hit Chapter 3, my minions were instantly dying, and once I arrived to the first boss in the chapter, my minions weren't even focused on hitting the boss, but the destroyable projectiles that boss was shooting out. This meant that I was dealing absolutely no damage to the boss, and eventually I forfeit the run. This can be a quite common experience whether your spells just significantly have a huge DPS drop-off going from Chapter 2 to Chapter 3, or you invested too much into minions like I did. Because of situations like this, I feel like the balancing really needs to be fine-tuned, but in a way that won't break the gameplay loop as a whole. I also believe that there needs to be more variety with the spells that drop or improve the RNG at the smithing table to work more in your favor. As I stated previously, the developers are hard at work listening to all community feedback and patching bugs very frequently. This is great to see because most developers seem to lack communication or just don't communicate at all. I just don't know how this is impacting the future development of Magicraft. Is this taking away resources on for the development? I suppose time will tell, but for now, we have a great game with great foundation with great potential. Have you played Magicraft yet? Let me know down in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this every week. With that being said, I will see you in the next video. Peace.